portion of the feeding talk. The feeding portion will commence imminently. They're just preparing everything. My name is Jordan. I'm one of our educators here at Loggerhead. Welcome. Raise your hand if you've ever been here before. Awesome. Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome to everybody who hasn't been here before. So this is our Gulfstream tank. Raise your hand if you know what the Gulfstream is. Slightly fewer of us, but still a good number. I love it. So for any of us that don't know, the Gulfstream is a nice big ocean current. It flows from the Gulf of Mexico around our coast up to about North Carolina, South Carolina, and across the Atlantic over to England. And it's what gives us our lovely warm water and lovely warm weather. And it's also why when you think of winter in England, you think of it being rainier as opposed to snowy in the northeast of America, like New York, New Jersey. For all of our animals, the Gulf Stream kind of acts like a highway. So for all of our nesting sea turtles, part of the reason why so many of them come to nest on our beaches is because we are one of the closest points of land to the Gulf Stream in America. And so they're using that Gulf Stream to travel further distances, a little bit easier for them. They don't have to work as hard to go just as far as they would. For all of the species in this tank, they're all here because they use the Gulf Stream in one way or another. And arguably you could put literally any fish that lives, or any animal that lives in the ocean in this tank, and they would all use the currents in one way or another. Either they are using it like our turtles as a kind of a highway to migrate long distances a little bit easier, or they're using it for their larval stages, so a lot of little baby fish just kind of drift in the currents until they grow up to be big enough to find a place to live. Or their food is coming in off the Gulf Stream, so they like to eat those little baby fish or plankton or anything else that might just float along with the currents. So all of the fish in this tank are using the Gulf Stream in one way or another. Now they're ready, so we can feed. So there's going to be two different types of feeding going on in this tank. We will have target feeding happening on either end. So both of our sharks, we have two nurse sharks in here. Gertrude is getting fed on your right. Victoria is getting fed on your left. And the reason why the sharks get target fed is so that we can train them to come to their specific sides of the tanks. This way, if for any reason we need to get them out of the tank, or we need to perform any veterinary medicine with them or anything like that, we would know that we can get them to their specific sides of the tank. It also helps us to keep track of exactly what and how much each of the sharks are eating. So if they were to get a little chunky or a little thin, or they got sick for some reason, we could look back on exactly what they ate and exactly how much they ate, and kind of go from there to adjust. Now all of the rest of the fish in the middle are getting broadcast fed. So our lovely volunteer Emily is just throwing basically fish salad into the tank. It's just chopped up little bits of fish and shrimp and squid and such. And that allows all of the rest of the fish in the tank to kind of just grab however much and what they want out of the water column. A lot of these fish species are just going to lunge up and grab it, and it's all chopped up into different sizes, so depending on the size of their mouth, they can grab whatever they want to get. Now one of the biggest questions we get in this tank is, how do you have sharks and fish in the same tank and everybody is happy and healthy and alive? And the main reason is because we feed them every day. The sharks get fed, they know at 1:30 it's lunchtime, they're gonna get their food, they know they don't have to go hunting for food. Another thing that makes it just a little bit easier for our nurse sharks in particular is nurse sharks' favorite foods in the wild are gonna be things that you find on the bottom of the ocean. So your crabs or clams or lobsters, stuff like that. They will eat fish, but they tend to only go after really sick, weak, or injured fish. They're going to be a little bit easier for them to catch out of the water column. Their mouths, as you'll notice, are on the bottom of their bodies, so it's just a little bit harder for them to grab things out of the water column. And that just makes it a little bit easier. We make sure that all of our fish are nice and healthy in here, and if they ever do start getting picked on by the other fish, which does happen sometimes, we get them out of the tank as quickly as possible, put them in a quarantine tank in the back until they get all better, and then they can go back in with their friends. Any questions?